أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأهل بيته وصحابته أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي.
Do you feel sometimes that no matter how hard you try, the world doesn't seem to notice your worth? That your heart carries a weight of doubt, as if your efforts are invisible, your voice unheard and your value unrecognized? Let me remind you of a truth that the heart often forgets. Your worth is not measured by the applause of others, nor by fleeting successes, but by the one who created you. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and we have certainly honored the children of Adam, Quran 17:70. You, by virtue of your creation, are honored. You are precious. Your struggles, your tears, your silent prayers, they are all known to Him, recorded with care and treasured in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Remember, the Prophet taught us, the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, while there is good in both. Strength is not just physical or visible, it is knowing your worth and trusting in Allah's plan for you. Sometimes you may feel broken, or that life has placed you in shadows of despair. But this is what sabr truly means: enduring with the heart anchored in faith, trusting that every difficulty is shaping you for a higher purpose. Consider the heart that feels unworthy, that questions its value. How many times have you compared yourself to others, forgetting that your journey is unique? Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Quran 13:11. Belief in yourself is not vanity. It is acknowledging that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a soul, a mind, and a heart with infinite potential. It is recognizing that every gift you possess, whether visible or hidden, carries responsibility and light. Even in your quiet moments, your prayers, your contemplation, your striving, Allah sees the value within you. There will be moments of heartbreak, disappointment, and waiting. The world may not honor your efforts, and sometimes your own self may doubt its own capabilities. This is human, but your faith can transform these moments. Through tawakkul, you learn to surrender outcomes to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through dhikr, your heart is reminded that it is never alone, never abandoned. The Prophet said, when Allah loves a servant, He tests him. Pain and struggle are not signs of insignificance. They are signs of divine attention, shaping you, refining you, teaching you to see your worth beyond the world's judgment. In the stillness of your prayer, in the quiet tears, know that you are becoming exactly who Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala intended you to be. Practice gratitude daily, even for the small things that seem ordinary. Each breath, each heartbeat, each opportunity to seek forgiveness or do good is evidence of your inherent worth. Let your heart speak gently to yourself, I am valuable. I am a trust of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and my presence in this world matters. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Quran 65:3. Lean into this truth. Trust your heart, your journey, your struggles, and your growth. Your value is eternal because it comes from Him. Your light, though sometimes hidden, is never extinguished. The world may overlook it, but Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala never will. And so believe in yourself not out of pride, but out of submission, and trust in Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know that every moment you seek His pleasure, every act of kindness, every prayer whispered in the dark, it matters. You matter. Let your soul rise with this knowledge. Let your heart beat with hope. And remember, every time you feel small, remember the one who has created galaxies within and beyond you. Your life is a reflection of His mercy, and your value is infinite because it comes from Him. For those who wish to nourish this understanding, to feel the deep assurance of their worth and purpose, let the heart continue seeking reminders, reflecting upon the Quran, and embracing the love of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. May every word, every moment of reflection, draw you closer to realizing the treasure that you are. If your heart is touched, if you feel even a spark of recognition of your own value, subscribe with your soul to this journey of spiritual awareness, allowing the guidance of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala to illuminate every path you take. Every soul carries a value that is infinite, sacred, and recognized by Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. In moments when the world seems harsh, when rejection stings or comparison clouds the heart, it is easy to forget that your worth is not measured by worldly standards. Your value was determined before the world even existed, by the one who breathed life into you. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and we have certainly honored the children of Adam. Quran 17:70. Reflect on this. You are honored simply because you exist. Your existence is a testament to His mercy. Your life a sign of His love. No failure, no mistake, no sorrow can ever erase the dignity that Allah has granted you. When you feel unseen, unloved, or inadequate, remember that your true worth is anchored in the knowledge of Allah, who never overlooks even the smallest details of your being. The Prophet reminded us that each person carries a light within them, a potential that is unique and unrepeatable. He said, indeed, Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but rather He looks at your hearts and deeds. Your heart, your intentions, and your efforts are precious in the eyes of your Creator. Even when your heart feels heavy with doubt, know that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the sincerity of your struggle, the quiet patience in your prayers, and the moments you seek forgiveness with humility. Your worth is not diminished by the trials you face. Instead, it is refined by them. Every hardship is a gentle reminder that you are held in divine hands. Every tear a sign that your heart is alive and seeking the closeness of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the stillness of reflection, in the quiet of your prayers, your soul remembers the honor it carries, the sacred trust it holds, and the immeasurable value that is yours simply because Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala created you with love and purpose. Self-doubt is one of the heaviest burdens the heart can carry, yet it is so common to the human experience. There are moments when you feel inadequate, unworthy, or incapable of fulfilling your purpose. These whispers of uncertainty are often not from your soul, but from Shaitan, seeking to make you forget the light that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala placed within you. It is in these moments that faith, Iman, becomes the anchor of the heart. Remember, the Prophet taught us that true strength is not measured by outward appearances or worldly achievements, but by the connection of the heart to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, verily, Allah does not look at your bodies nor at your forms, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds. When doubt clouds your mind, return to this truth. Your worth is not defined by what others see, nor by fleeting moments of failure. It is defined by the sincerity of your heart, the devotion in your actions, and the remembrance of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you feel small, remind yourself that you are a creation of the Most Merciful. He Subhanahu wa ta'ala fashioned you with intention, breathed into you a soul, and granted you gifts unique to you alone. No one else can walk your path. No one else can fulfill the purpose Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you. Even the smallest acts of worship, the quiet prayers whispered in the night, the moments you resist temptation are all signs of your immeasurable value. Faith transforms doubt into clarity, weakness into patience, and fear into hope. When self-doubt rises, let the heart turn inward. Remember Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala and recognize that every struggle is an opportunity to witness the strength of your soul and the depth of His love. Your value is not conditional, and your purpose is never diminished by fleeting uncertainty. For Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the truth of your heart even when the world cannot. Patience, sabr, is one of the most profound acts of worship in Islam. It is more than waiting, it is a surrender of the heart, a gentle submission to the timing and wisdom of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When life feels heavy, when trials seem unending, or when the heart longs for relief that has not yet arrived, sabr becomes the bridge between despair and hope. It is the quiet strength that allows the soul to remain steadfast while the world rushes and falters. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, "O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient." Quran 2:15-3. Notice how he Subhanahu wa ta'ala links patience with his presence. Sabr is not passive. It is an active turning toward Allah, a conscious choice to trust his plan even when the heart trembles with uncertainty. Every moment you endure hardship with patience, every tear shed in remembrance of him, is a testimony to the resilience of your soul. The Prophet taught us that trials are a means of purification. He said, "No fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that. Every difficulty you face is not meaningless. It is a soft, unseen hand, shaping your soul, refining your character, and drawing you closer to your Creator." Sabr allows the heart to transform waiting into worship, pain into reflection, and loss into understanding. When you practice patience, you learn to see beyond the immediate, to trust the wisdom hidden in every delay, and to recognize that every moment of endurance strengthens your connection to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this gentle surrender, the soul discovers a quiet, unwavering confidence, a deep assurance that nothing occurs except by his decree and nothing escapes his care. Allah's timing is perfect, even when our hearts cannot see beyond the waiting. There are moments when you feel impatient, when doors seem closed, and when the path ahead is unclear. It is sigh to question, to wonder why life has placed you in delays or trials. Yet every pause, every moment of stillness is part of a divine design far greater than our limited understanding. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "And it may be that you dislike a thing which is good for you, and that you like a thing which is bad for you. Allah knows while you know not." Quran 2:21-6. This verse reminds us that our perception is often limited, and what we feel as delay may be protection, preparation, or a hidden mercy. Trusting Allah's timing means surrendering the need to control every outcome and embracing the unseen wisdom in every moment. The heart that trusts will find peace even amidst uncertainty. The Prophet taught us that reliance on Allah, tawakkul, is inseparable from patience. He said, "If you were to rely upon Allah with reliance due to him, he would provide for you as he provides for the birds. They go out in the morning hungry and return full." Even when provision seems distant, when your efforts seem fruitless, trust that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala is orchestrating every detail with precision and love. Divine timing also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are not the masters of the universe, but servants under the care of the most merciful. Every delay is an invitation to deepen your connection with him, to reflect, to prepare your heart, and to strengthen your faith. In this trust, the soul learns to wait without despair, to hope without fear, and to surrender without regret. The unseen plan, perfectly timed, will unfold when the moment is ripe. And in that unfolding, you will witness the wisdom and mercy of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala more clearly than you ever imagined. Healing after pain is not a sign of weakness. It is a reflection of the mercy and wisdom of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. The heart that has been wounded, the soul that has endured loss or betrayal, carries within it the capacity to rise again. Every scar, every tear, every moment of quiet suffering is seen, known, and treasured by Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says in the Quran, "Indeed, with hardship comes ease." Quran 94:6. Notice the gentle promise in these words. Ease is not separate from hardship. It follows it, intertwined with it, as part of Allah's divine design. Healing is not always immediate. It may come slowly, like the first rays of dawn after a long night. It asks of you patience, reflection, and trust. It calls for surrender. Surrender to the one who knows what your heart has endured, who knows what is best for you, and who is shaping you for a future beyond what your eyes can see. The Prophet taught us that trials refine the heart. He said, "No fatigue nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that." Healing then is not only physical or emotional, it is spiritual. Every moment of pain carries a lesson, a purification, and a chance to draw nearer to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the heart has been broken, it is easy to close in on itself, to fear trust, to question one's own worth. But know this, the mercy of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala is vast, His love immeasurable, and His wisdom beyond comprehension. In every sigh of prayer, in every whisper of dhikr, the heart finds restoration. Healing is an act of worship when approached with tawakkul, when the soul leans into Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala and allows Him to mend, to soothe, and to guide, turning pain into light and sorrow into a testimony of divine mercy. Recognizing your worth begins with remembrance of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the heart is distracted by the noise of the world, when comparison and doubt cloud the mind, it is dhikr, the quiet remembrance of the Most Merciful, that restores clarity. Each act of reflection, each whispered prayer, each moment spent in contemplation of His signs reminds the soul of its sacred nature and its purpose. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "So remember me, I will remember you. And be grateful to me and do not deny me." Quran 2:50-2. Notice the promise here. Remembrance awakens a connection that renews the heart and nurtures the recognition of one's value. In the stillness of reflection, the soul begins to see itself through the eyes of its Creator, understanding that every breath, every heartbeat, and every moment of existence is a trust and a gift. Gratitude for these blessings deepens the awareness that your worth is inherent, not earned or measured by worldly standards. The Prophet taught us that every person carries a unique trust and potential. He said, "Every one of you is a shepherd, and every one of you will be asked about his flock." Your life, your talents, your heart, and your actions are part of a trust entrusted to you by Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Recognizing your worth means acknowledging this trust, embracing the gifts you have been given, and walking gently yet confidently in the path of righteousness. When the heart contemplates the blessings it holds, no matter how small they seem, it begins to awaken to the truth that its presence matters, that its voice matters, and that its efforts, however quiet, hidden, or unseen, carry value in the sight of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. This awareness allows the soul to rise in humility and strength simultaneously, fostering confidence rooted not in pride, but in divine acknowledgement and sincere gratitude. Believing in yourself is not arrogance, it is a recognition of the trust that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in your hands. Each soul is entrusted with gifts, abilities, and a purpose unique to it. To doubt your potential is, in a way, to doubt the wisdom of your Creator, who has equipped you with everything necessary to fulfill the path He has written for you. The Prophet reminded us that every person has a measure of responsibility and strength. Every one of you is a shepherd, and every one of you will be asked about his flock. What you hold, what you carry within your heart and mind is a trust from Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believing in yourself is honoring that trust. The heart that believes in its value walks with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but a serene assurance that Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala sees its worth and its efforts. This confidence is rooted in tawakkul, in reliance on Allah, knowing that your life, your actions, and your intentions matter. Even in moments of struggle, when doubt whispers and the world seems to weigh heavily against you, the awareness of your divinely given potential illuminates the path forward. Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Quran 13:11. This is a gentle reminder that believing in yourself is part of your spiritual responsibility. You are called to recognize your value, to nurture your gifts, and to step forward in faith, not for pride, but to fulfill the purpose Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has designed uniquely for you. Every prayer, every act of worship, every effort made in sincerity becomes a reflection of your worth and a testimony to the trust placed in you. When the heart embraces its own value through the lens of faith, it no longer seeks validation from the world. It knows that its worth is eternal because it is rooted in the one who created it, nurtured it, and watches over it with infinite mercy and wisdom. Know this truth in the depth of your heart. Your value is not temporary. It is not earned by applause, nor diminished by failure. Your worth is eternal, anchored in the mercy, wisdom, and love of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Every trial you face, every moment of doubt, every tear you shed, it is all known, all witnessed, and all held sacred by Him. The heart that trusts in Allah, that walks gently in faith, that acknowledges its own worth, becomes a vessel of light in a world that often forgets the beauty of the soul. Believe in yourself, not with arrogance, but with gratitude. Walk forward with quiet confidence, knowing that you are seen, known, and cherished by the one who created you. Let your prayers, your reflection, your intentions, and your actions reflect the treasure you carry within. A treasure that no one can take away. A treasure that grows as you seek closeness to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And so, embrace your value, nurture your gifts, and live with the awareness that your existence matters profoundly. Let your heart rise in hope. Let your soul trust in divine timing. And let your journey be a testimony to the mercy, guidance, and wisdom of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. If you feel this truth touching your heart, let it inspire you to seek reminders, to reflect deeply, and to continue on this path of spiritual awakening. Allow your soul to subscribe, not in the worldly sense, but with your heart, to the eternal guidance of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who sees your worth even when the world does not.